Last week, Michelle Feldman stood poised to make history. Never before had a female bowler bowled a 300-game perfecto on TV. With that strike, we witnessed the greatest moment in the history of women's televised finals. The fans here have been reliving that event all week. Tonight, they'll be a part of a major event with the largest purse in a decade. Samstown Hotel, Gambling Hall, and Bowling Center presents the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. We're in Richmond, Virginia. Welcome to Hanover Lanes for the finals of this year's richest event, the AMF Gold Cup. Hi everyone, I'm Jan Schmidt. We have an all-veteran field this week, a combined 52 years of experience. Let's meet them. In our number 5 position, making her 8th show this year, Wendy McPherson-Papanos. Her first opponent in the number 4 position has been knocking on the door, but has been winless since 1995, Maryanne DeRupo. Qualifying 3rd, it's her 5th straight TV appearance, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Our number 2 seed, she's been off the telecast for nearly a year, Alita Sill. And in that top spot, trying to get back on pace for the year, Carol Giannotti Block. That's our veteran field, and working with me is a veteran coach, Fred Borden. Fred, they needed every bit of that experience this week.
Yes, Jan, we started out with 123 of the finest female athletes in our sport. They bowled 42 games of qualifying and match play on a very difficult condition. 42 feet of oil, edge to edge. It took pure shot making. And talking about shot making, Jan, what does it take for the ladies to make this telecast here today?
Well, it was tough, Fred. It started out early this week. We traveled here on Friday. We had an extreme bowling party that night. It was a great amount of fun for everyone, but we really had no break. Started Saturday morning with practice and pro-ams, Sunday with qualifying, and we've bowled every single day this week.
Yes, and we're talking with most of the gals. They used 8 to 10 different bowling balls. They started between the 2nd and 3rd arrows. They had to mosey on in to a deep inside line in between the 5th and 6th, and I know you have something to say about playing those angles.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's tough, and for the first time in my life, Fred, I walked around a ball return, as did many of the ladies, so that we could get far enough left on the right-hand lane. It's an interesting perception, that angle into the pocket.
So you can see what it takes. It takes patience, it takes desire, it takes dedication, it takes talent, it takes skill to win a major title.
And Fred, winning a major, it's oh so special. So just sit back and watch it unfold.
That was good.
The handshake between Wendy McPherson and Maryanne DeRupo. First look at Wendy McPherson-Papanos.
Her 8th show this year.
Great opening shot.
You can see, Jan, she was inside the 4th arrow, in between the 4th and 5th arrow, and threw just an excellent shot for the opening shot of this great championship. We don't know.
Maryanne DeRupo's opening shot trips that 4-pin.
You can see she's inside there also, Jan, and I'll tell you, she really looked good in practice. I really liked the way she was getting the ball off her hand, very clean, putting a good heavy roll on it. She looked like she had the shot of the field in practice.
Qualified 4th with a 208 average, relatively low averages this week because of the demanding condition we talked about.
Very demanding. It's a great shot maker. It takes a real clean release off the hand, consistent rotation.
Coming high, something we saw throughout the week. Very difficult. The farther left you move, oftentimes the more it hooked.
Yes, but you couldn't throw the ball right. Even though the lane hooked, you couldn't throw the ball out to the right, because out to the right there's a puddle of oil. It's truly a major championship shot maker's condition. You have about a board and a half, 2 boards maximum to work with, and the hand rotation has to be exact the same on every shot.
cover on the spare. With Wendy McPherson-Panos is asking for a re-rack right now on lane 18. And they're sweeping the pins. Especially at that angle, Fred, critical to make sure you have a good rack to shoot at.
Oh boy, you need those pins on spot when you're playing deep inside, especially if the pocket's closed a little, Jan. If the 3-pin or the 5-pin's off, the 2 key pins coming into that 1-3 pocket.
Wendy averaged 209, actually higher than Maryanne, but qualified 5th by virtue of less match play victories. And coming high again, we're going to see some of this tonight.
Still just that little bit of early turn, just a touch too, and just enough that it makes that ball turn left of target. Right there, it's in between the 4th and 5th arrow, but see right here now it's starting to turn a little bit early. Just didn't go quite long enough.
Gets a break off the wall on that shot.
Same thing happens, Jan, on the spares, obviously, and that's why 208 makes the telecast. That's very low scoring for the players of this caliber. Here comes that spare shot. You can see, oh boy, that 6 goes off the wall and trips that 10 out. What a lucky break that was.
And a nice shot for Wendy. Leaving the 4-pin, but she's in the pocket. It's where she wants to be and hopefully stay there.
Well, if you could hit that pocket all week. In fact, I don't know of one person that's on the telecast today, not one of the ladies said that they felt so sure that they could hit the pocket with every shot, and that obviously is the #1 goal of a world-class player.
And moving from pair to pair, pairs were very different. Hopefully if they get lined up here tonight, it'll be a little easier staying on one pair of lanes than moving across the house.
No, not unlike any other world-class major event. We want difficult conditions. We want to test the player for the ability to execute under pressure, to have the will and to have the skill to win a national on a very difficult condition is something that is really a big test, and that's the way we like to see the majors.
Beautiful shot by Maryanne. Fred, I would agree with that comment. As a player, I would like to know that when I go out there, I have to make shots, that the player that makes the most shot will hopefully be rewarded.
Watch this delivery. This is real good right here. Look, this push away. 4-step delivery, very athletic, very big swing. She gets it off her hand real clean at the bottom. And when you roll it that well, here's what happens when that pin hits that ball hits on pin triangle, 10 right in the pit. She's working on that clean release, and on that one it looked like she lost it just a little bit, and that's what happened here all week long. If you grabbed it just a pinch, it went left. If you lost it, that same little pinch, it missed right.
It did. It was definitely a shot maker's tournament. Break out of this shot. Covers the spare nicely. With that spare, Maryanne DeRupo maintains a 1-pin lead over Wendy McPherson-Panos. It's early in the match. Stay with us for more from Hanover Lanes. Wendy steps up in the 4th frame, trailing by 1 pin. 8th championship round appearance this year, Fred. That's incredible.
That is something. This lady is really playing well. There is also getting a break. And if you could do that, playing that deep inside line, though, if you lay it down a little early, playing that deep inside line, playing way left. Look how far left she is. That's where some people play right of that to make their 10-pin. Throwing it down on the left-hand corner, playing in between the 4th and 5th arrow, and if you lay it short now, that ball will just flip over and carry that Brooklyn shot.
She can take the lead here with the strike. Yeah, nice shot. Half pocket, tripped that 10.
There's that release we're talking about, Jan, the one that you get over the foul line, but you don't get it out too far. If you lay it down early, it'll hook early. If you get it out, now right there between the 4th and 5th arrow, and look at this ball roll. Gets right there at 58 foot, little flip right at the pocket, beautiful shot.
That was pretty, right off her hand.
That's what we call a free rolling ball, where you lay it off your hand. You hardly feel your thumb, you hardly feel your fingers. The ball just rolls, a good heavy roll right down the lane, just pure accuracy.
Now, Maryanne said that she used like 8 to 10 balls this week, but she said her other adjustment was speed. She did speed adjustments. They actually, to me, it looked like she slowed that shot down a bit.
Soften it up, get a little softer release, get the ball off your hand with a little softer roll. Sometimes a softer hand action is much better than that real firm hand action, especially if the lanes seem like they're going over and under on you.
Fortunate to break it up. Now, as you're watching this, I know you mentioned earlier on, Fed, 123 entrants this week. Many of those amateur bowlers that came out and joined us. It was great to have them out here. I know that some of them were a little discouraged with the condition and their scoring ability on it, but I want to say to you that when I came out here on tour, I couldn't play if I wasn't right of 10, forget it. And it's something you have to learn. Go to your center and practice playing there. It doesn't matter if you're going to hit the pocket or not, because the shot may not be conducive to that, but it's learning the perception of being that far left.
Very good point you make there, Jen. You have to learn to play the angles, make the adjustments, and be versatile if you're going to be a world-class player. Maryanne got a little break there, carrying that 6 into the 10 on the Brooklyn side. But I'll tell you, right out here this week, all week long, you'll take a mark, a spare or strike, any way you can get it.
Wendy's average up a pin this year over last year, and last year she was our IOF Player of the Year. Right now she's first in basically everything except titles, first in earnings, points, and average.
She's got a 9-pin lead right here in this match, and this would put her up by 19 if she strikes on this shot.
She has a nice reaction out there, Fred. One of the best I've seen.
She really does. She is inside there playing an angle from left to right. Just that nice head angle. Watch this angle over in the left corner, right between that 4th and 5th arrow. Throw it right at the 3-pin. Now, right when it gets 3-pin, just let it turn over. Catch that 10 right out of there. Beautiful roll. Look at that finish. Look at the stare now. Look at her stare now. Ooh, kick that 10 out. Yeah.
She helped it. 19-pin lead right now for Wendy McPherson-Papano. She can increase it to 29 pins with a strike here.
There it is. Turned that thumb in a little early, laid it short, right through the nose. She's lucky to get out of there with an 8-pin count without having a split when you throw the bad shot all week long. That was the key. If you did throw the bad shot, could you get away with it and get out with a mark?
No. And that is going to change our lead right now. It'll reduce it. We'll be back right after this. Maryanne up in the 7th frame, trails by just 5 pins now by virtue of that chopped spare. Wendy McPherson-Papano in 7th. Oh.
Just missed her target by a board and a half left, and there it is, the big 5.
Okay, now this is where you mentioned it, Fred, in the open, patience. Number one key, in my opinion, this week, patience, because the matches went back and forth like this the entire week. It was critical that you stayed within your game and said, hey, you know, I just opened, she may open, I may double. You just never knew what was going to happen.
Exactly. No one was going to run away and hide. Let's see if she goes after this split here.
Takes 3 there, and we talked to Maryanne about how she liked bowling on this demanding condition.
The conditions this week were very demanding, but I felt that it was par for the course, bowling for $25,000 first place. It makes people make good shots. You have to stay focused and get a break here or there by crossing over, carrying a Brooklyn, or possibly tripping a 4-pin to win a match. So I think the conditions were definitely necessary for such a big magnified tournament.
Trails by 22 pins right now. She needs to start tripping those 4s and getting those breaks.
Needs to set up a strike here, 1 to go on. the short. There's that Brooklyn she was talking about. She got 9 and a wiggle out of it, Jen.
I thought she was going to carry that right after listening to her refer to it.
And there was a lot of our athletes that were lined up that way. There's deep inside, and if you laid it short, you could carry Brooklyn, and if you got through it real good, you'd hit pocket or light pocket. And a lot of people, sometimes we think that's luck, but a lot of times we line up intentionally. If we get a little pull, we're not going to hit the nose square. We get way deep inside.
Like 256, 179, I believe it just showed for high and low games. That's good. The low games this week were much lower than that for most players.
How about a week with a lady of that caliber to only have a 256 high game is unbelievable. And then, as you said, 179. It was so easy to shoot 140 out here. To have a couple splits like that, chop a spare, all of a sudden your eyes get a little cross-eyed, and you get out there and you don't know what your ball's doing, and that's where that patience comes in that you're talking about, Jen.
Wendy, 2 victories already this year. The Lubbock Open and the Storm doubles. Partner was Dara Street. She's trying to be the second woman to have 3 titles this year. The other one being Liz Johnson. Rocking that 10-pin, but not going down.
And both of these ladies are AMF staff players, and they're here wanting to put on a show in front of their bosses. These are 2 great lady players that are playing for a great company that does an awful lot for ladies bowling, and we're very thankful to the AMF Corporation for supporting women's bowling the way they do. We've got to tip our hat to them.
We do. I, as a player, very appreciative of that. Also, both ladies a member of Contour Power Group staff.
You know, another thing that AMF's involved in the 33rd AMF Bowling World Cup, which will be held in Cairo, Egypt in November, Jen. The champions bowl from all over the country, 80 countries, they'll compete for the coveted crown. And defending champions are Pang Nipo Museno from the Philippines. Pang is a heck of a player. I think he may have won this World Cup 3 times. And then Kara Honeychurch from Australia. That's a great tournament. That's a worldwide tournament that AMF sponsors, and they've 33rd year that you're going to sponsor that tournament.
Ooh. And an 8-10, we saw a lot of that. Weak hit, ball not driving through. It's a deep angle into the pocket. Difficult to get the right angle.
And you're not trying to throw your biggest hook because you need accuracy. So you take your small hook for accuracy, but then the small hook doesn't give you angle of entry. So there's a trade-off there. Well, it just shot now. She's deep inside here. She's got that ball closer to the 5th arrow than the 4th. It's fallen back. It's fallen back, fallen back. Now it makes a turn, but it makes it a little late. It bounces right, 8-10.
Now, Fred, I mentioned patience. Maryanne right now trails by 9. She could step up here in the 9th and 10th and shut out Wendy McPherson-Papanos. Look how that turned around.
All week long, just watching matches up and down the bowling center. What a shot that was, and it rolled over just that little pinch.
Oh, and that did look like a good shot off her hand.
Really looked good. Well, Jan, I think she's got to take a shot at this thing. She's in a must position. I'm sure she knows that. She knows the score. You know, sometimes we don't watch the score. She's got to move left. She's got to make the 10-pin and make it a little light. Just aim for the 10-pin when you have the split and hit the right side of that 6 and slide it across. Let's see if she can give it a go.
Not enough.
Got it down a little early.
The best she could shoot right now is 180 if she strikes out in the 10th. Wendy McPherson-Papanos has 172 in the 9th, which means she would need 9 pins in the 10th.
On the 2 shots, so she's got to get up there and get 9. You know, crazy things happen. You overroll 1. We just saw a 5-pin split. We saw 3 splits here in 3 frames. So crazy things happen. So Maryanne will try to get up here and throw this first one. You've got to do it one at a time.
There's that Brooklyn she talked about.
Get a little wry smile coming back here, huh?
Well, she said she was happy just to be here this week, as all these players are. A real test of ability.
Her 4th show. She's had a nice summer swing here. She's bowling very well. She's a great player. She's got 3 national titles, 4 regional titles, 6 300 games. She's 1995 WIBC first team All-American, Rookie of the Year in '92. She's quite a player.
Wow. It looked like the ball would slide and just turned over it.
You know, something that's a little different with Maryanne too. She's won 3 times. Every time is from the 5th position. And here today, bowling this first match, I think she had a little thought on her mind, well, maybe I can do it again.
Maryanne DeRupo ends up with a score of 170.
So Wendy don't even need to stay behind the foul line. There it is. She's the winner.
And Wendy McPherson-Papanos defeats Maryanne DeRupo. Coming up, Fred Borden on Heads Up. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard and Wendy McPherson-Papanos shaking hands to start the second match. Carolyn has chosen to have Wendy start the match.
8 shows for Wendy, 5 in a row for Carolyn, and 2 of the hottest players in all the world right here. Here's the strikes on the 17 and 18, had 2 strikes on each lane, and opens on 17, so it looks like 17's in a little more trouble. She may have, the trouble's gone now, huh?
Well, you know, Fred, the viewers at home didn't get to see it, but on Wendy's fill ball in the 10th, she tried another ball. She changed balls to see what kind of reaction she would get out of that. First look at Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, 32 years old, 7 years pro, from North Richland Hills, Texas. Nice shot, Fred.
Right inside, all roll, not looking for the big hook, just pure accuracy, high flush in the pocket, threw it probably within a half an inch of what she was looking at. That is a tremendous shot for the opening shot of a match of this magnitude.
209 average this week, and she did it just like that. Deep inside, end over end roll.
Just pure shot making, and this lady right now is just as pure a shot maker as there is in women's bowling throughout the world. Not relying on hook and power, just pure technique, beautiful technique.
A little high, as we've seen a lot of players do on the left-hand lane.
The left-hand lane appears to be going a little earlier. When we say that, what we mean by that is instead of skidding on down to the 48, 50, 52 foot mark and hooking, it starts grabbing at 45, 43 foot. A couple foot earlier at this level on this condition is huge.
But now Carolyn has elected to finish on that lane, lane 17, so she probably thinks she has a better shot on that lane.
Feels as though if she leaks it out to the right a little bit, it'll still come back a little bit.
Probably, right.
Here's that patience again you talked about. She threw an open frame. Now she's got to sit back on the chair there and start talk herself back into it. Wendy is a great champion. We know that. She's won the Triple Crown. She's done a lot of things in our sport. She's just an unbelievable competitor.
219 average on this pair. That's high because the averages were rather low on this pair of lanes. What's that for a big double?
That's a big break when you start tripping that 4-pin. If you can carry that 4 on that high hit and then go out around the pocket a little bit and then knock that 10 out, what a huge advantage. And we saw last match, if you remember that double under that 3-bagger that Wendy had, she threw it out around and she did snap that 10 out a little bit, had that little 6-pin come up off the kickback and knock the 10 out. That's the key.
Wendy defeated Carolyn earlier on in the week of match play. Now, Wendy was not happy with her performance on TV last week. She said she wasn't sharp. She has to be a lot happier so far tonight.
Yes, she is. Ooh, you see that sigh and that breath come out there? That's 2 trip 4s, back-to-back trip 4s. And when that happens on this condition, when you get a 3-bagger on most conditions, that's like a 4 or 5-bagger.
Now, Carolyn even averaged higher, 220 on this lane. Apparently, these ladies figured this pair out.
Yeah, I think that's one reason they're on this telecast, Jen.
Oh, and the 9, basically the same type of shot. You've seen Wendy carry the last 2 shots. Carolyn not getting the break.
Exactly. And this lady's finished 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and in that order. That is, what are the odds of that ever happening, that she would finish the 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd? And I'm sure today she's looking for that number 1, and she needs to trip a couple of those 4s and them 4s into that 9. See if she can handle that. That's not an easy thing to handle, as we know. When your opponent gets the break and you get the bad break, Jan, sometimes that works on us. Let's face it, I don't care how much of a world champion we are, that is not easy to take.
It's tough, but she knows, as all the players this week know, that you had to get breaks to be here today.
Exactly.
And she's expecting it. She said, yeah, but she's just hoping she gets some of those breaks.
Yeah, well, you know what? What was this blue dot thing, Jan? She had a little blue dot thing last night in an interview, and I didn't catch what that was all about.
You know, she cut that out of the Enquirer. It's for good luck. A lot of good things have been happening to people with that blue dot, so she's carrying it with her last night. So far, it doesn't seem to be working.
I was going to say she's got that blue bowling ball. Maybe there's some tie in there with that blue dot. But you know what? This match is early. This is the 4th frame for Carolyn, the 3rd frame for Wendy. And as you know, you can stack them up with a few strikes, but you can lose them just as fast on a difficult condition.
Shoots it from the left side. Beautiful cover. Wendy McPherson-Papanos has the lead now by 35 pins. We'll have more from the AMF Gold Cup in a moment. Wendy McPherson-Papanos, 8-9-1 match play record. The lowest of our finals on TV.
So that must mean that she got a few breaks here and there, Jen, as you alluded to earlier, and that's what it took here all week long with those low scores. Sometime when you could win one of those games where you shoot 176 and end up with a win, that's big. 1986 Rookie of the Year, then come back 10 years later and become Bowler of the Year. She's won the Triple Crown. This lady has done it all in bowling at a very young age. She's a great player.
That time leaving the 4-pin, ends her string. She leads by 34 pins right now through 4 frames.
She's the youngest, Jan, to ever win the Triple Crown. The Triple Crown is the WBC Queens, the BPA US Open, and the Samstown Invitational. 3 major titles. And to win that Triple Crown at 22 years old is unbelievable, isn't it?
Most players out here have been bowling half their lives and are waiting to win that.
Oh, boy.
Or even a portion of it.
Yeah, win a major, much more or less 3 of them.
There's another break crossing over the Brooklyns we've seen on lane 17.
You know, Dan, that's so easy to do this week because you know if you sail that ball to the right, you're going to get 6 off on the right. So you get up there and you say, trust it, trust it, trust it. Not too much. Right at the end, your hand wants to turn in because you have this feeling, I don't want to throw it too far right. It won't come back.
7 regional titles for Carolyn, 2 national titles. Really been trying to get that 3rd national title, as you just alluded to, Fred. Okay, a bit of a break, broke up the split.
9-pin count there, make the spare. You never know, you know, when this lady can play, we know that. You don't make 5 shows in a row without being able to just light it up. She could get lit up here and all of a sudden 4 or 5 bagger right back in this match, and that's something that we have to learn in this sport, is it's not over until you add them up in the 10th.
She's changing balls to shoot her spare. That was pretty important this week to shoot with the spare ball. Actually, I found spares relatively easy, the singleton spares, with a spare ball to go straight at it because of all the conditioners.
Yeah, enough oil, the ball wasn't going to overhook, so you could throw it out to the right, especially the 10-pin, huh? Because there's so much oil out to the right, you throw it, it hits that oil and just skids right off into the 10, stays right on line.
35 pins. Carolyn trails by right now, halfway through the match. Now, she said most of her adjustments this week were slight. They were hand position adjustments. So I'm sure right now she's trying to figure out the correct hand position, the right amount of roll on the ball.
And it was fine-tuning. It was a huge adjustment, as you alluded to, Jen, because she's been trying to keep the ball on line all week long. She never opted to go around with the shot.
See, left that one out. Ball won't hit.
The ball's been going a little high. Hooked it high on 18, hooked it high on that lane last frame. Goes over to that lane, says, okay, I'm going to get out over the foul line. Did, and ball never quite grabbed the lane surface. But a nice easy spare, the 5-pin.
You know, sometimes I even try a little bit of something on a 5-pin if I'm not exactly lined up. Not a major move because you have to cover the spare, but I might try a little bit.
Bump at a board left or a board right, or try to make that little fine adjustment. She may have there. Looked like she went a little deeper. I think she did, Jen. Very good. She did move a little farther left to see if that ball would skid or would it hook.
Wendy leads by 36 pins right now. She's stepping up in the 6th. Now, Wendy chose to make most of her changes with angle and equipment this week. She went through a lot of equipment and just moved herself about on the lane, changing her angle into the pocket.
Trip that 4. That's 3 trip 4s this game. I think she's got that little guardian angel on her shoulder here on this week. That's what happens when you can make this ball roll the way this lady does. It's high flush. Look at this thing. It's way up in the pocket, almost through the nose. And there comes that pin off the wall. And there's that, oh, look at this reaction.
Come on, come on.
Yes.
She leads by 46 pins right now, Fred. I think she might have taken Carolyn's blue dot. What do you think?
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you. You know, she shot her first 300 when she was 14 years old.
Carolyn was standing up. I don't know, probably couldn't see that on camera, but Carolyn stood up as that ball was hitting the pins, assuming Wendy was striking.
That was the energy, wanting to let me get up there. That's what great players do. They want to get up and throw the ball. They hate to watch. She got a little break there, getting 9 on that shot. She threw the crossover and got 9. Now she got a 1-pin spare.
Wendy McPherson-Papanos has a commanding lead. It's 45 pins. The conclusion of this match when we return. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard trails by 45 pins. She's in the 7th frame. You're looking at her average over the last 2 years, identical.
4 hundredths of being identical for both 96 and 97. What a nice shot that was. With the pressure, she knows. She still has room, Jen, to shoot a nice game here.
She does. She could shoot 223.
Exactly.
Wendy would need to stay clean for the rest of the match.
You can see way over to the left. Slides with her foot on the left channel. She moved deeper, snuggled that ball right up on that 18th board, just flush in the pocket.
There you see it, 45 pins. Can cut it to 35 here with the strike in the 8th.
And you know, Wendy gets up, and you never know what's going to happen on this condition again, so she can apply a little heat back on Wendy. Wendy would know the match isn't over if she throws this strike right here.
See how she spreads that index finger, Fred?
It's a good support with that pointing finger. That's huge.
I heard her yell, "Come on, roll." She knew that was going to skate a little bit.
At all direction, but she wanted the direction. The first item of business there is hit the pocket. High game 259, low game 157. There were very few games in the 260s or above this week.
And to tell you what the scoring was like, Carolyn actually tied that match, that 157 game. She tied it.
Good.
She didn't
15
lose
bonus
that
pins
match.
then, huh? There's
Right.
30 pins for bonus for winning, so she picked up 15 bonus. They split the bonus on a tie.
That looked like a nice shot right there.
Sure was. And when you play way deep inside like that, a lot of people don't understand. But what we're trying to do is not allow the ball to get way out around the pocket and have it swing in the pocket. But you go to the right, there was too much oil. You couldn't get it to swing in the pocket, so you tighten up to the pocket. So sometimes the move is left and left, even though they're hooking.
On the nose, but breaking up the split. Right now, Wendy has things going her way. That's just the way it works sometimes, and you really can't explain it.
I think she has, Jen, she's got a sneaky ball roll. She had that last year. She's had it this year. It's been going. She breaks up more splits and carries the trip 4 probably more than any lady out here on tour. Is that a fair statement?
I would say so, at least definitely in the last 2 years.
Boy, it's a sneaky roll. We've said it before.
Oh. Dropping that 6-pin straight back off the 10.
Carolyn can still shoot 2-0, so we now have a situation where Wendy has to throw a mark in the next 2 frames to lock Carolyn out. She needs to mark in either the 9th or the 10th here, because Carolyn still has room for 203. If she would go open, she'd shoot 190 something.
She pauses
Something
for a minute.
interfered, or her thumb dropped out of the ball a little when she swung down. Yeah, I think that's what happened. That's why I think she pushed it out. When she started swinging it down, the ball dropped a 1/4 inch off of her thumb. She had presence of mind to stop. A lot of times we just keep running up there and chuck it right into the approach, and 7 off on the right.
She went back for more rosin.
Yes. A little better grip and feel on the thumb.
10-pin, Carolyn, took in a little breath there.
Yeah, this lady, 5 consecutive shows. She's bowling unbelievable. And you know what? Just keep doing it, Carolyn. You're bowling beautifully. Don't worry about winning. Just make performances every week. Bats, you know, we kid her all the time now after 4 times now. It's 5, it looks like, if Wendy makes this, but keep making that telecast. Just keep making that telecast. She gets that bonus money from the ball company. She's making that good prize fund every week, and I just can't say enough about her technique and how well she throws that bowling ball.
Well, the best she could shoot right now is 203. Wendy has 175 in the 8th with a spare up in the 9th. She'd still have to get good count on her spare.
Exactly. She's got to get up there and get 8 and then get 1.
And it's not going to be...
You know, she's been a pinch light or a pinch high, just a little long with the skid. She did not bowl a bad game there.
No.
And that was not a bad game. She threw the ball right close to the pocket, left a couple 5 pins, just didn't have it quite matched up the way she wished for here for the national telecast. Moved way to the right.
Well, Wendy McPherson-Papanos defeats Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. We're ready for our semifinal match right after this. Welcome back to the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour, the $150,000 AMF Gold Cup. We're in Richmond, Virginia, Hanover Lanes. I'm Jan Schmidt with Fred Borden. It's our semifinal match, Wendy McPherson-Papanos against Alita Sill. Coming up light, 245. We haven't seen a whole lot of that.
Looks like she's in a little deeper, got around the ball a little bit. There's the breakdown on the strikes. 5 strikes on 17, 4 on 18, 3 to 5 spares, 1 open on 17, the split, and then 2 chops there, spare misses, 1 on each lane. So pretty close to the same. I have a distinct advantage on one lane or the other. But however, it looks like 18 might be playing just a pinch easier than 17.
It does.
Just a little.
That was close on that spare, Fred. It looked like the pins were spread a little bit.
Crossed over. There we are with Alita, 34 years old. Been a professional for 17 years. She's from Dearborn.
Only left-hander on the telecast. Only left-hander that made the top 18 this week. Dee Dee Davidson just missing. She finished in 19th.
Just by a couple of pins.
Well, nice opening shot. Now, she talked to us, Fred, and she said she had to play left of where the right-handers were playing.
Exactly. Her qualified second. This week's average 209.93, almost 210 on this condition is unbelievable. But, Jen, if the lefties moved out farther than where the right-handers laid it down, so if the right-handers landed on 36 or 4 boards from the left edge, and then she was trying to lay the ball down on 3, 1 board to the left of that. So she was playing outside of where the right-handers would lay the ball down.
She appears to have a nice shot out there right now.
And she's got 27 titles. She's second only to the great Lisa Wagner, who has 30 titles, and she's a WIBC Hall of Famer. You're talking about the greats of our sport, and she's one of them.
Lisa's sitting right next to us here, Fred, keeping the score for us, keeping us honest.
Yeah, we know she just missed the telecast also. She was right there with a few games to play.
Up high, Wendy needing to get relined up here, start getting some of those breaks she had earlier on.
Come back after the break, and she looks a little soft to me right now, Jen. She looks like she's laying the ball a little short here, a little bit soft, but you know, through that first one, she let it off her hand, 2-4-5, it was playing a little deeper, and then she just laid that a little soft.
Just makes that spare.
A little soft. What a great tournament we've had this week here. I can't say it again, Jan, AMF, and the job that the entire staff here at this bowling center has done to host this tournament. Here we're coming back. Watch this. This ball hits right here. It's starting to grab the lane right here, starting to hook, and I know she's saying, oh no, hang on, and she just gets it by 1/8 of an inch.
We mentioned AMF, and they're also the world's largest operator of bowling centers with more than 420 locations in 13 countries, including the United States, Australia, Brazil, England, Spain, Japan, and China. And next month, a new AMF center opens up at Chelsea Piers in New York. Coming up a little high there. And then later, one in New Delhi, India, and 2 weeks ago, a 24-lane center opened up in Buenos Aires.
$5 million bowling center in Chelsea's Pier. I've got to get up there and see the sports complex they have there with all kinds of sporting activity, which will be the showcase is going to be that bowling center that AMF is building. Not an easy spare. Look how perfectly she makes that on the right side, and she floated the ball to where it didn't hook and it hit the oil, so the ball didn't take off and take that 3 right off the 610, and it can't do that this week. So really, if there's ever a time when that spare was a little easier, it's this week. You can see Alita Sills' first championship round this year.
And Fred, she wanted to make sure that I credited you with that. She said, thank you so much. She's been working with you every Thursday. You've worked with her on keeping her elbow in and getting her motion going, feet and speed, ball speed.
Yeah, she just got a little soft, a little slow, getting her swing through a little stronger.
Opens up with a 3-bagger that gives her a 24-pin lead at this point.
But you know, Jan, you get credit, but when you get to work with great athletes like her and Lisa Wagner, when you get to work with the best race cars in the world, you're going to win some races. So I don't think we should get the credit. These gals are really fine-tuned players.
Race cars, huh? Fred, pick a better sport.
Better one? Okay,
yeah.
race cars, okay. We'll get something better than that. See how us guys think.
Yeah, yeah, I know how you think.
Yeah.
All right, step up in the 4th frame, leading by 24 pins. Trips out the striking. She's up here in the 5th frame. Just like all the rest. Steps up in the 6th frame. Repeat. Wendy McPherson-Papanos just threw a strike live in the 7th frame. While we were gone, she spared in the 4th and 6th and struck in the 5th and 7th. She's striking on the left-hand lane, Fred.
She's got a clean game. She's at 115 in the 6th, and Alita's got the first 6. So she can still shoot 235. So Alita can't jump up and throw a couple of opens and then have Wendy finish the game out, and all of a sudden we've got a match. But Alita's looks like she's got that pocket tuned in pretty good.
As you mentioned it, she comes high, crowd appreciative of 6 in a row.
On this condition this week, you throw 6-baggers, you're going to win 99.9% of all your matches when you throw 6 in a row of any one game.
Alita changing balls to shoot her spare, mentioning bowling balls. She also wanted to thank Maryanne DeRupo, her roommate. She gave her a lot of help with equipment this week, equipment choices.
Yeah, well, Maryanne works a lot with Del Warren, and Del Warren works a lot with Maryanne. And and she really understands the physics of the inside of the bowling ball and the surfaces, and she has helped Alita a lot to get up to speed with all that. You can see here we have a 53-pin lead by Alita, 168 and a 6th, a spare and a 7th. Wendy's got 115, a strike working.
So she could cut it to 43 with a strike here. There's Maryanne that we were just talking about. Oh, yeah. Caught her.
Oh, she says, what are they doing, huh?
A little bit of crowd reaction there. They're watching on the monitors overhead.
Yeah. Bounce right back, just threw a wonderful shot. She's got such a nice game with a nice footwork, a nice clean swing, and with a good clean release. And that's why she has 27 titles, and this lady 8 shows this year. Unbelievable. She was in 38th place after the first round of qualifying, Jan. She fought her way all the way back here to 3rd. That's unbelievable, going from 38th in the first round. That is a test. Even though it doesn't look like she's going to win this tournament, I'll tell you what, I can't say enough about this lady to make 8 shows and to bowl the way she has now for 2 years. You know, all of last year, again this year. She's 11 years on tour. She has 3 regional titles, 11 national titles. She's what a great player.
And it's difficult to play from the players that have been on top like that. It's difficult for them to continue that pace and that concentration level.
It really will wear you out. So you've got to get your rest. You got to stay in good shape. You got to stay focused. Bowling has to be your life when you're on the tour. You can't allow a lot of other things to interfere.
53 pins right now, just 2 frames left.
There it is. There it is. Ooh, that stubborn corner pin again. See, she moved out a little bit and went out around the pocket a little bit. And when you go out around the pocket all week long, you left the 10 pin. That's why all the players moseyed in deeper and played to more of the inside line. But she thought, what the heck do I have to lose? Let me move right.
Look at the beautiful trophy.
Wow.
That is nice.
Is that it? Did you see the gold bar there? Is that the stuff? That's the real, huh? They're going to pay him in gold.
That's the real McCoy.
Huh? Wow.
Yep.
Look at those gold bullions laying over there with that crystal. Crystal and gold. What a nice combination. "17 years, a tour player. 27 titles. There you can see why.
And she will have a chance at her 28th title. But when we come back, a look at a special match that we saw this week. Block against Alita Silk. Carol's led this tournament from the 2nd round on. And I'll tell you, she's also this year had finishes in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in a variety of orders. So she said she's looking for that win.
Something just interfered over the right. They're moving something over the right with the trophy. And she stepped off the approach. Okay.
She's waiting. Right now they moved the trophy out of the way. The cameraman's setting back up. So she's just casually waiting.
Yeah, the pro that she is, she'll handle that.
Ball going right. Never really broke into a good roll.
It's one of the things she said she fights all the time, where her swing gets faster than her feet, and then she doesn't get any leverage at the foul line. And what that means, Jan, is that the ball gets there in front of your foot instead of your foot getting there in front of the ball. When you plant your foot, you like to have the ball trail just a little bit behind it.
Carol averaged 213 this week. High average on these conditions. Whoa. I know she didn't expect that.
Here it is, the $150,000 Gold Cup. We're right down to the last game, $25,000. As you can see, Alita had 6 strikes on the left lane, 4 in the right lane. So she struck very well on both lanes. $25,000. What a nice week. It's wages, man.
Yeah, we need to see more of that.
It's tremendous. Ladies deserve it.
Leaving a 7-pin. It is our championship match. It's the AMF Gold Cup. If you just tuned in, stay with us. Carol Giannotti Block versus Alita Sill, right-hander versus left-hander. There's Alita's career earnings, $826,000. The way we got to this point today, Wendy McPherson-Papanos defeated Maryanne DeRupo 191 to 170. Wendy McPherson-Papanos went on to defeat Carolyn Dorin-Ballard 212 to 182. And then Alita Sill defeated Wendy McPherson-Papanos 277 to 172. '83rd television appearance, 73 and 56. That's a lot of wins on TV.
214 average under the lights. Unreal.
Alita wants to wish her grandfather Steve well. He has been ailing lately. He'll be 81 in November. She says, hang in there.
First shot that went a little bit high. That ball looked like she actually pointed it up. Instead of going straighter down the lane, she actually pointed it up toward the pocket and it took off on her a little bit. Just get two here now and regroup is what you do here. I know a lot of people, well, they're going to try to make this. Well, how often in your lifetime would a person make the double pinochle? Right here, get two.
Exactly. Those two may be important later on in the match.
Or how many times do we see that? Ooh. That surprises me a lot.
I don't think she meant to do that.
I think it surprised her, too, that ball took off and hooked that hard across the lane.
There's a good look, Fred, at that tape on Carol Giannotti's hand. That was, she said you worked with her on that. She said, thank you. That actually helped her keep the hand behind better. Behind the ball, get it down the lane better.
Yes. Dave Anderson, AMF Mid-Atlantic, what a job again this entire staff and this entire AMF corporation has done here. Look at this shot. Deep inside. When you talk about that finger, what happens if you put a lot of pressure on that pointing finger, that firms up your wrist and makes you circle the ball and hook it real hard? Well, that was one of the problems she'd had. She got to where she was circling it too much and hooking it too much. Now, the ball comes back softer toward the pins instead of making that snap hook, which she was getting into position, Jan, where she just couldn't control it. It was hooking so violent, so that helps her soften up the hook action on the ball.
So there's so many things that you can do. I mean, in this way, by taping that finger, she still feels she can be aggressive with the shot, but it cuts back the hook for her.
Cuts the pressure out of the middle finger and the pointing finger. Those two fingers are on that ball. Even though that pointing finger's not in the hole, it can create a lot of pressure in your wrist and in the snap off the fingers when you release it.
Alita stepping up in the third frame, trails by 17 pins. She defeated Carol Giannotti Block twice during match play.
See if she can get it back on track.
A little high again, tripping a 610.
Ball grabbed a little bit, went a little bit right early, but it appeared like it was a little bit right of her target too. If you watch right here, she's a little bit right of that target. She's in about the 6th board on that shot, got out about the 5th at the farthest point out, and it snapped up there a little high. Oh, what a good break to carry both the 6 and the 10 off the wall like that.
Still trailing by 17. A strike could cut that to 7. Interesting this week, though they're on opposite sides of the lanes, what the right-hander's doing could affect the left-hander's condition, which is different from normally a left-hander on a telecast. The shot would remain the same.
Exactly, from playing so far left to that laydown point. What a nice shot that was for the double to close this match down now to just 7 pins. But as you can see, Carol's way over to the left, and she's laying the ball down on the left-hand side of the lane.
4 titles from that top position. Last one, 96 in Baltimore. Ooh, that looked like a nice shot. Paul Wallachek, also from AMF Mid-Atlantic.
He runs this beautiful operation here. What a beautiful bowling center this is. I wish everyone could see this place. It is really state-of-the-art.
There's 2 sides, 28 lanes on each side with the big concourse down the middle. You're getting a view of it here.
Look at the colors. Look at the vibrance, and look at the architecture. It's just marvelous.
And what a crowd we have here today. It's standing room only. They're down the lanes and the bleachers. Quite a crowd turned out all weekend. 500 people showed up for that match with Maryanne and Dick Weber.
Well, they did everything right, and you know it's a major, and people know people love to watch athletes play for major titles.
Oh, we had that extreme party. They gave all of us shirts and towels, and they did everything first class. Very nice event.
Never got that projected to the hook point. That ball was inside 20 almost all the way down the lane, or the 20th board, the middle board on the lane, or the board that this head pin sets on. It never got to the right of that, and the pocket's on the 18th board. So if you're going to strike, you got to be 2 boards to the right of the center board or the 20th board. So it never quite got projected out.
Just showed Carol Giannotti high game of 300. She's the only one to shoot 300 this week. She did it on lanes 3 and 4, and they were a difficult pair.
Unbelievable 300 game.
I saw Alita while Carol was up there kind of closing her eyes, taking a breath. I think she's a little bit nervous. She's got 6 titles from this position, 95, but it's been a while, almost a year since she's been on television. She told us she was a little bit nervous last night.
Yeah, she said she was looking to score. She was trying not to choke it off, she said. She bowled marvelous.
Well, she's not choking it off here. That just gave her the lead, Fred. She leads by 5 pins right now.
Talk about marvelous. Look at this loose swing with this good ball roll. That swing just goes right through. See that arm just go right up through? The ball's right out there on 5, just rolls right up to the pocket, high flush. That is a clean swing that this lady can put on a bowling ball. I noticed that years ago. She just walks and swings her arm so loose from the shoulder socket. It's a big key for you at home. Swing it loose from the shoulder socket. Try to let the arm swing it and keep the hand free and just allow it to roll right off your hand.
And she strikes. Alita still has a 15-pin lead. Will Carol Giannotti come back, or will Alita still stop her? Find out when we return. This year's second, hoping to get that first today. Right now trailing by 15 pins, actually 18 pins by virtue of that 7 count.
Well, she's got a very difficult spare here. Look at her focusing. Look at her eyes. She's trying to collect her thoughts right now. She's starting to move left. Forget about the strike ball right here. That's what she's trying to do. Clear her mind, move to the left, focus on make the spare. She killed that ball.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Just dropped it to a dead straight, got the thumb straight up to a nice direct line right at it. That was a perfect shot. Watch as she just keeps that thumb straight up now. Just drops the ball right here quick with a straight ball release and just fades it right into that 3 pin. Hits that lead pin and then bounces to the right, knocks all 3 of them down with the ball. You can't do it any better.
That way you avoid a chop.
And that's the
Trails
truth.
by 18 pins. Needs to start something here.
Boy, was that good. Was that clean. That came off clean and got the swing right through. Set one up in the 7th. She's got room for 235. Alita's got an 18-pin lead. She's working on 4 in a row here. 7th frame. There's a lot of bowling left in this match to see who's going to win this Gold Cup match.
Eight-pin.
Good shot, a little high, but she tripped, and right now I'm sure she's just happy with 9. It looked like a strike, rolled up a little bit high, and she got out of there with 9. Could have very easily been a split. You see her match play record, 11-7. 11 wins and 7 losses for the 18 match play games.
Alita still in the lead here in our championship match by 17 pins. She just spared in the 7th. Carol Giannotti blocked with a strike up in the 7th frame. It's a close match, Fred.
Sure is. Look at Carol. She's got her head down. She's not even watching. This is for a major championship. $25,000 first place. Wow. To be able to go up there and swing at that 3 for the week, we say, that is really something. Watch how clean this lady can swing. Look at the arm go through. Ball right out over the target, right to the breaking point. Here it comes, just nice, smooth, heavy arc roll. 10 in the pin receptacle.
Carol needs to strike.
Oh, back at you. You're not giving up. I'm not letting you just take this match from me. If you're going to win it, you're going to have to beat me.
It's just 7 pins right now through 8 frames. Carol Giannotti-Block trails by 7. If she strikes here in the 9th, Fred, she takes over the lead.
She's the leader by 3 if she strikes on this shot. Let's watch. Oh, that was a good shot right there. She threw that awfully well. The swing went through right to target, but that's that demanding condition we're talking about.
I mean, she couldn't have missed by much.
Now, the last title, 96 Samstown Invitational. Boy, what a big one that is, the Samstown.
She trails by 9 pins with a spare here. Alita could step up and shut her out.
Oh, that ball hooked on her.
Oh.
That ball grabbed the lane and flipped over. And I'm sure she thought that she just killed that ball the same way she did on the 3-6-10, just trying to throw it flat, but she got a little rotation. See the rotation on the ball? It's tilting, it's rotating. There it is. It hits the back end, which is a little cleaner, and just takes that 2 right off the 5. Oh.
Well, Alita now leads by 21 pins, stepping up in the 9th frame.
There's 9 with a little wiggle. She had the presence to just go up and hit that pocket.
Well, she's really going to need a mark. Carol could strike out for 201, so Alita's going to need a mark in the 9th and 10th.
Exactly. If she spares here, she goes 190 something. If she opens in the 10th, she's just at 201, 200, depends on count. So she needs this mark. Okay, now she needs to get up here in the 10th, and she's got to mark to close Carol out.
Exactly. If she were to get 9 on the first ball out, we could have the possibility of a tie.
This shot right here is the biggest shot in women's professional bowling of 1997 right here. This is a big shot.
Did it for the money.
25,000 big ones, a major title. It's really saying something after having a year here of struggling, and she's only made $40-some hundred this year, and look at this swing. She just swung it through and trusted it right out there to the 4.5, 5 board and just let it roll right back. And look at this. Look at this. Look at her. She's talking to it, going down the lane. Yes, and she knows. Oh, what a feeling it's got to be. It's amazing, Jan, how the great ones know how to win.
That was the most emotion I've seen out of Alita Sill, I believe, ever on a television show.
In a drop, you can see the...
You have to feel for Carol Giannotti-Block. Basically led this tournament throughout.
Second place, 13,500. I don't know if I feel real bad for her.
Okay, I don't feel that bad.
Yeah.
Alita Sill is the champion of the 1997 AMF Gold Cup. Stay with us for more in a moment. Tonight's broadcast has been brought to you by AMF Bowling Worldwide, the largest owner and operator of bowling centers in the world and one of the world's leading makers of bowling products. AMF always means fun. AMF presented the 5 finalists while we were away with medals in the fine Olympic fashion and gold bullion. But only one lady was a victor here. It was Alita Sill, our champion. And Meryl Radin from AMF, Marketing Director, is here to present you with the check.
Alita, on behalf of all 13,000 AMF employees worldwide, I'd like to present you with this winner's check for $25,000. Congratulations on a great tournament.
And here with a beautiful trophy, Steve Mackey, Vice President of International Operations.
Congratulations, Alita. It was a great performance tonight, and we wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you. Alita?
I'm speechless. I'd just like to thank AMF for getting behind ladies bowling. They've helped us tremendously. I don't know what our tour would be like, if we didn't have people like AMF and Ebonite and all our companies getting behind us. So I would like to thank AMF, the staff here at Hanover Lanes. I'd like to thank Maryanne because she helped me all week with my equipment, and I'd just like to say thank you. And this is for my grandma.
A wonderful champion of the AMF Gold Cup. For Fred Borden, I'm Jan Schmidt saying so long. Thanks for watching.